Welcome to Promo Insiders, the ASI Media podcast that covers the issues that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm CJ Mitica, and today we're recapping the whirlwind that was ASI Chicago. I'm joined by Sarah Lewandowski, Executive Director of Client Education and Content, to discuss what distributors and suppliers were saying, as well as our top takeaways and product finds from the show. Sarah, it's great to see you, and glad to know that you and I got home from Chicago with no problems whatsoever, right?
Exactly. Yep. Smooth sailing all the way.
Yeah. No, actually, it was the complete opposite of that. O'Hare was having a moment a day, a couple days. So there was canceled flights, lots of delays. We both made it home. I had to sleep in an airport for 6 or 8 hours, right? Everybody should do that once in their life just to say they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's a shame though, because the show was fantastic, and obviously any trade show when you travel, there's obviously a risk of these things. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go to trade shows. Chicago was fantastic. I assume it was a great experience for you too, Sarah.
It was great. So to be honest, I was kind of preparing myself for some, muted energy perhaps.
Sure.
It's been a tough first half of 25, and I was like, preparing myself for people kind of being in the doldrums about, the coming quarters and what it's going to mean. I was actually really surprised, pleasantly surprised by how energetic people were. I mean, to a person, whoever I stopped to talk to, they were like gung-ho gangbusters about the second half of the year. And that's suppliers and distributors. They're saying, there were maybe delayed campaigns in the first half that are now going to come to fruition in the second half. So the energy was great. It was much, much higher than I had anticipated. So that was great.
Yeah, I can definitely echo your sentiments, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about what the feeling was at the show. We're going to talk about some of the key takeaways and strategies that we learned, heard at the education sessions, at the keynote, some of our top show finds. So we're definitely going to discuss all of that. I would also urge our listeners and our viewers, you can go to our website, members.asicentral.com/news. If you just go search Chicago 2025 or Chicago 25, you'll find all our Chicago coverage that Sarah so graciously wrote up, that I contributed as well. I had I was obviously like wondering about it, because it had been a very difficult first half of the year for the industry, right? Industry sales were down in both Q1 and Q2, and you wondered if that was going to infect the enthusiasm that typically comes with the Chicago show. It's a great sort of mid-year refresh for people. They definitely use it as a second half springboard. And I agree with you. Like, the nice thing was that people were really eager to find new products, to jump into the second half of the year strong, and it had just had a really good energy all throughout.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it did.
Yeah, and one additional thing was that I talked to a lot of suppliers on this show, more for the product trends angle of it. But just in our conversations, are like, how is your year doing? How's business been? A lot of people, they were either flat or slightly down. That's not surprising, considering the data that we have at ASI Research showing how sales have been going. But I think that's par for the course. That and something that you talked about at the breakfast brainstorm, so presenting some of our SOI data. Just because what happened the first half didn't dampen the optimism for the second half. It seemed like people had a lot of eagerness for what the last half of the year is going to bring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a very resilient industry. I think overall, like, very optimistic. So, the industry doesn't stay kind of feeling beaten down for very long. Like, they just adapt and move forward and eyes forward. So that's been very heartening. I think that was very much apparent at the show.
Yeah, it was very interesting at the Education Day wrap up. Right, we asked some questions of the audience. One of them was, how do your sales compare this year to last year? 60% said their sales were up. Mm-hmm. Now, I think people were being a little. Sure, they weren't being as truthful as they could have been. It's like an anonymous voting with their phone. But To your point though, like I do know there are distributors and suppliers who are having great years. And even companies that aren't having banner years, they're treading water. And in this environment, that's great. It speaks to the resilience that these companies have to navigate around difficult times.
Absolutely.
So I want to get into the some of the takeaways, the things that you got from the show. I want to start with so our keynote speaker was Brian Urlacher. He's an NFL Hall of Fame linebacker, Chicago Bear great. That really resonated with our Chicago-based audience, obviously. You were there for his keynote, Sarah. What were the things that you took away or most impressed you from hearing him talking in his conversation with Tim Andrews, our president and CEO?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm admittedly not really a sports person. I don't know Chicago sports, that's for sure. But people were really excited. Like we had so many people at the door coming to see Brian Urlacher. Like it was really, really busy. The keynote was very high energy. When he threw out those footballs, people were so excited to
Yeah,
land
they
those.
were.
Yeah, it was like, and then at the same time, like somebody who is a Hall of Famer like that, a great player who's well known. Perhaps, their advice is hard to relate to, because they're like at a higher level, perhaps. But he was so relatable. Like he was like one of the group, and his advice really landed. I thought it was very pragmatic when he said, I decided not to do high level coaching because I wanted to spend time with my kids. And I thought, oh, as a Hall of Famer, that's a very significant and again very pragmatic decision to make when the world's kind of at your feet and you can make your decisions like that and you have a lot of decisions um what to do with your future, like, and he decided I'm going to spend time with my kids, and his son plays football now and
Mhm.
they talk shop, and I just really, I think people really appreciated that, especially as a group of, a lot of them are family businesses, and so they have, like, their kids are now coming up in the business, they could relate to that. But yeah, the energy again was really high, and I thought he was a very relatable guy that sometimes, as a pro athlete, you don't know if their advice is going to be relatable, but yeah, I think he everything landed well with them.
Yeah, you've been there before with celebrities, with pro athletes. You don't know, are they a genuine human being, or are they going to
Yeah,
be something else?
sure.
And Brian Urlacher was so approachable, so relatable. I got a chance to interview him on camera, but just talking to him before and after, just having like a normal conversation was like completely approachable, and it was willing to have that like human interaction that you don't feel like you always get with like certain celebrities. I thought that was very cool. I
Hmm.
also really liked during his conversation, his thoughts on being like a brand ambassador, because it's weird. Like when you're like a college athlete, it's changing now, but back then, you didn't have any endorsements. He was just a sort of unheralded college recruit, went to his hometown University of New Mexico, had doubters going into the NFL, had to switch positions. So he wasn't like he wasn't like some of these recruits that are sort of had their egos inflated from a very young age. And so when Tim asked him about like, well, how do you view yourself as a brand? Like, what kind of brands did you align with? He was honest. He said, I worked with the brands that I like, and he loves merch. He loved getting merch as a college student. He still gets merch now that he proudly wears, like he like other polos or like golf balls with his a friend's company's logo on it. I found that very relatable. We think about celebrities just selling out to the highest bidder, but it proves that if you've got a great product and a great brand story to tell, there's no reason that you as a distributor or an end user can't sort of make that connection with somebody in a very high profile visible role if you have great products and you have a great story that you're willing to share with them.
Sure, absolutely.
So Education Day was very busy. Lot of great speakers. What was like your favorite takeaway, your favorite class, something you took from that day?
Yeah, I sat in on a social media class on uh, developing a strategy for targeted ads in Meta. So that would be Facebook and Instagram mostly. And it's interesting because, as we've talked about, SEO being discoverable online is changing, especially with AI and all that kind of thing. But Janet Johnson presented that session, and she had some really, really interesting takeaways for how to develop a strategy around that, and saying like, look, you can get really, really targeted with your ads. Like you could target the entire country, you could target a neighborhood outside Indianapolis, right? And then you can also narrow it down to, okay, what's the gender? What are the behaviors? What are the interests? And if you're willing to spend a little bit of money, it doesn't have to be like, hundreds of thousands a month, but if you're willing to spend, 20, $30 a month at least to start at kind of like the bottom, you can really get some nice targeted advertising for your target audience. So, and I think, for people like that's actually pretty reasonable, and your reach can be pretty big or pretty narrow depending on your needs. But I thought that was really interesting that, there is still a place for paid advertising on social media. It's not like going away. You just have to really, target your campaign, but it's definitely doable for a few bucks.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so many different marketing avenues. It's kind of hard to choose, right? There's so much to choose from. I think the great part though is that a lot of it is really affordable.
Yeah.
Social media advertising is a very affordable avenue, and as part of like a marketing mix,
Mm.
it can reap a lot of benefits. You remember Janet was saying like what the either conversion rate is, or like are you getting just one person to convert, or is it like a big group? Like how big should your ambitions be? Do you remember?
She said that, I mean, conversion, it was more like cost per click.
Got it.
So cost per click and then lead through. So how many people are actually, she said there were people who asked for specific numbers like that. And she said, look, I can't really give you specifics, because I don't know and each campaign is different, right?
Hmm.
So each ad is different, each campaign is different. And ads should be very eye-catching. They should be tailored to that platform. So she said, have really eye-catching graphics, avoid huge blocks of text, like break them up into bullets with emojis, for example, and keep it really pithy. That was part of her advice for the actual design of the ad. But she said, as far as numbers, you want to be careful about making sure that the campaign is really like targeted. So she couldn't give specific numbers for each campaign, but she said really make sure you look at click-through rate. So a person is clicking on the ad, not just looking at the ad, but clicking on the ad into your website, and then they're on your website. And how long are they on your website? Because if they click through to your website and then they leave immediately, your ad is doing something well, but the website is missing something. There's no call to action. You're not being clear about what you're offering, something like that. But she said, always make sure it's not just like how many people are viewing the ad, it's how many people are clicking through to your landing page or your website and then taking action there.
Got it. So yeah, so my favorite was actually not, it wasn't the one that I hosted with my panel. My favorite class was Mimi Brown's. And
Yeah.
I saw Mimi last year in Fort Worth. She
Hmm.
was one of our keynote speakers. I think it's awesome that she was speaking at our shows again this year. I sat in on her class on persuasion and influence. And she's first of all, she's an awesome speaker. You can tell she's a professional speaker, but I really liked her messaging because people think about persuasion influence in terms of like mind control. And she said like, it's like a Jedi mind trick. People think like you're exerting your will on them and you're like hoodwinking them
Hmm.
into what you want. And that's not really the case. You really just want to make a connection. Now you can do things to make that to facilitate that connection, but you want to build trust. So I really like that message, and I really liked the way she talked about how you can tap into people's decision making. Often people use very instinctual, quick decision making, even though they say it's to the contrary. So you can present information, you can eliminate barriers, you can do all these things to make it easier for people to say yes. My last favorite thing was the magic question, which is what would it take? So if somebody's being resistant, you ask that question, what would it take to dot dot dot, right?
Hmm.
What would it take to make the sale? What would it take to overcome your objection? That opens the doors because it puts it on the buyer to then give you the information that you need to complete that objective. And if you can meet those requirements, you can make the sale. So I thought Mimi had some great information.
Yeah, Mimi's great. She's got a lot of energy. She really connects with her audience. She has really like her takeaways are like nice and pithy and easy to remember. So yeah, she's got the package, I think, for like the education that we're looking for our members. She really just has it all kind of in a bow. So yeah, she does a great job.
Yeah, for sure. Another great thing at Chicago show is the Counselor Awards. This is a huge event for us, and Michelle Bell, who is the Counselor Awards czar. She
Hmm.
puts in so much time into making this event a success, as does the rest of our team. It went incredibly well this year. Sarah, I think you got a chance to be there for part of it. What did you think?
I did, yeah, it's fun. I was there to say congratulations to the winners and mingle about a little bit. Yeah, it's great energy. Again, people are really excited to be there. Yeah, it was awesome. It was a packed ballroom. It was great.
Yeah, and you can tell the success of an event by the fact that um, it's the awards were all said and done, and the staff was like pulling tablecloths and packing up chairs, and people didn't want to leave. They were still
Yeah.
there,
Mm,
mingling and chatting, which just shows how much people enjoy connecting and talking. And there were some great speeches this year. Carlene Gray said some wonderful things, as did Mandy Rudd. Justin Zvajil, who's our Person of the Year, was humble as gracious as expected. And I felt like we had a really good group of winners this year, not in terms of just their accomplishments and achievements, but also just how like humble they were and how thankful they were to the people that helped them make them a success, whether it's their family, whether it's their coworkers, whether it's their distributors and suppliers that they work with. So that was very heartening for me.
hmm. Yeah, and you presented an award, right?
Yes, unfortunately, because as Sarah and others know, being on stage is not my number one place to be. But yes, I
Mm,
was on stage this year. It was a good, it was a new experience for me because I had never presented at the Counselor Awards.
fantastic.
And by the way, for our readers, if you want to read those Counselor Awards profiles, you can get to it numbers of ways. I think the easiest way might be our awards page. That's members.asicentral.com/awards, and then the Counselor Awards should be right on there, so you can read this year's profiles. Sarah, I want to talk about the ASI Learning Network. This is something that was released just before Chicago, and Chicago had made its big, I guess, public debut. It was a chance to share information with the attendees there about ASI Learning Network and present really the vision of what's involved. So for those of you who haven't heard about it yet, can you tell us what the ASI Learning Network is, the thing that you've been so hard at work for a number of months, and what can our members do with it?
Yeah, sure. So we've launched a new on-demand education platform at asicentral.com/education. So this is the ASI Learning Network. It is replacing our ASI University Library of Courses. So we have kicked off things with about 20 classes in different tracks, including sales and marketing, AI, best practices, ESP plus, sustainability. We're going to keep adding to that every month. We have different course formats. So some are videos you can just kind of listen to while you're doing other things. Others are more professorial classes with, they're more modular. So they have a video and then a knowledge check, interactive elements, things like that. So we're going to keep adding to this every month. It is free 24/7 for our members to use. We will still be offering the B and MASI certifications. So if you're interested in pursuing that, or if you already have it, it's all still current, doesn't go away. And yeah, so we're going to keep adding to our content every month. And again, it's asicentral.com/education. But yes, we did officially launch it in Chicago, though it had been open for a couple weeks before then. But yeah, we are excited to see where this goes. But yeah, we're going to keep adding to that content. So everybody should keep their eyes open for that because it'll be consistent.
Great. And I know you said a couple times. Once again, what's the URL that people can go to?
Sure, it's asicentral.com/education.
All right, easy enough. So yeah,
Hmm.
I know that both you and a lot of other people at ASI have spent a lot of time working on this. It's a very robust offering, and has a lot of potential. So I know I'm excited to see where you and everyone else can take it. And I hope our members really enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise.
So last question, I think the most fun that we have at the show is the product finds, right? Walking the show floor, meeting new suppliers, finding new products. Like I've been at ASI for 17 years now. Sarah, how long have you been with ASI cumulatively?
Um, 15 years?
All right. So
Yeah.
I know after it's funny after all these years, like when you talk to distributors, right, and they say like, oh, like it's always exciting to find something new. There's always something like cool to discover, and my journalist brain is like, well, you're just like buttering it up. It's like it's not that exciting. But having been in the industry this long, there is always something like cool and new on the show floor, and even like us who have been around for so long, like that. It's always fun to find like new products, make new discoveries. So what were your favorite discoveries from the show this year?
Oh man. Well, I really liked the custom bikes from Soleil
Hmm.
bicycles. Like they have custom bikes, wakeboards, skis. That was really cool. They had this like Van Gogh um themed bike that had like his painting, but it was like wrapped around the bike frame. It was so cool. I was like, "Oh my God, that bike is amazing." I really I thought it was very interesting that the trends in drinkware I think are definitely shifting away from the huge heavy Stanleys,
Yes.
the double wall insulated stainless steel. People are going more towards like 15, 20-ounce bottles that are like maybe half the size of a regular Stanley, that are like plastic, aluminum. They're lightweight. You can slip them into a side pocket. They're leak proof. So like there's a screw on top rather than like a slide or a straw. So I've definitely seen that shift for sure, and suppliers noted it. They were like, "Yeah, we're really catering to this new kind of phase in drinkware." I really appreciated the live as a standard issue millennial. I really appreciated the live houseplants because I'm in my houseplant phase now,
Hmm.
and you can actually they're live houseplants. You can get shipped to new hires if they're especially if they're like remote, or you could like have it on their desk for them when they start the first day, right? High performing sales reps, you can send them a money tree, something like that. Anniversaries, birthdays, these are all live plants that are hard to kill, which is like very key for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
there was a beautiful pathos there that the supplier said, oh, at the end of the show you can take this guy home, because I was admiring it. I was like, well, I have to fly, so I can't take the pathos home, but I saw the pathos going home in somebody. And I actually said to them, like, I had my eye on that, and I would have taken it, would have been me if it wasn't you taking that home because she drove. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I really like I've seen that more, like the live house plants, which I think people appreciate. And then you could get like a personalized, like etched pot or some kind of planter that you could have a brand or name on it. It was pretty cool. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I've seen a similar type thing where people are looking for products that have natural elements to it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not
Mm-hmm.
just a live plant, I saw multiple suppliers, two I can think of, Wooden Element and Joy Coast, that
Yep.
have had wood integrated through like a whole range of products that you wouldn't think of. So like wallets and then sunglasses, like
Mm-hmm.
rings, like tech accessories, things like that. And it just gives this very excuse the pun, but like earthy,
Mm-hmm.
like at home vibe. And these companies are already sustainable to begin with in terms of they have charitable initiatives, but it just kind of rounds out the whole brand story. So like I really enjoyed seeing that. And I think you're going to see more of that, especially like people are trying to replace plastics with other materials. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a great place to start. My favorite product, you know this because I dragged you to their booth, was the surprise cake
Oh yeah. Yep.
booth, and this is very cool. So this is a mother-son team. They actually had appeared on Shark Tank, and they created a cake, and it's in a box, right? So the box they call it an explosion box, and it opens, and inside the cake, but it's on there's on a stand, has a little built-in card. You pull the card, confetti pops out, and then it has this little spring-loaded thing in the middle with like a tube of candy. It could be a little item. I thought it was a lot of fun and very clever. And as Jordan was telling me, he's the son in this operation. You can do it for anniversaries, birthday parties. They'll ship it to arrive right on the person's actual date, so their actual birthday, their actual work anniversary. So I thought that was very cool. And then my last thing that I wanted to pitch was the tech products that I saw at the show. So I think people got kind of either like bored with, or there's just like an influx of the power banks, the USB drives, like all those the cell phone accessories that had a huge movement, in the past 3 to 5 years, and we saw it in the SOI data that it started to go down a little bit. I think people just got there. They got a lot, just like with any popular trend, they got a lot of products and they kind of overstuffed themselves on that. What I saw was cool is that that tech products were getting kind of this like new upgrade in different ways. The one I'm thinking of was at the SRG booth. They had, I think it's Satechi. I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
pronouncing that correctly. And I thought that was cool because they had these normal looking products like and luggage tags, passport books, glasses case with Find My technology in it. So you can use your phone to track these items down if you happen to lose them, which I thought was very cool. And they don't look like tech products; they just look like your everyday items. So I thought that was a neat sort of offshoot of the tech product fad that had been going on. Fad, it's been a long-term trend, but that's been going on in our industry.
Yeah, SRG has added a lot of cool retail brands. They're really well known for their awards and high-end gifts, and they've really in the past couple years have stepped up with retail brands. They're adding like Swarovski. They have Rolink. They have the tech products now, Satechi, I think it's called. Yeah, they're really, it's like they've added a lot of new products to their lineup to give people the retail options as well. So yeah, that's one of their newest ones.
Yeah, so a lot of cool products, and as I noted in the write-up, suppliers, they don't wait until the beginning of the year to debut new products.
Mm,
They're debuting new products all the time. That's a cool thing because you can go to the show, and every supplier has basically something new to show. So it's a great opportunity to see new products that's not the January trade shows.
sure, absolutely.
So just to wrap up, Sarah, any parting thoughts you want to leave us with?
I'm looking forward to the second half of the year. I mean, like everybody else, I think I was, the first half numbers were a little bit, down, and I mean, it was hard. Like we're trying to still navigate the tariff waters. That's still a thing we're working on, but I'm looking forward to the second half, and I think the industry is too. And we've all kind of, I think, adjusted to a new normal, which is great, and that's what promo does. And so I'm looking forward to what transpires over the next couple quarters and seeing how the holidays come out. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep, me too. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Be sure to go again to our website, asicentral.com/news. Check out all of our Chicago coverage and everything else we do as an editorial team. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your week.